Hey, you're here with myself, Safire, from Melbourne, Australia. Today I'm here with Plugin Boutique to demonstrate how I'd use the Arturia Mini V, which is obviously available at pluginboutique.com. As mentioned earlier, we're going to look at making a bass stab patch today. So in doing that, we'd start off by dialing up Oscillator 1, set it to a sawtooth waveform. I'd keep that on a range of 16. I'd then dial up Oscillator 2. I'm going to set Oscillator 2 to a saw triangular waveform, and then dial that down to a range of 32, which is an octave below Oscillator 1. The reason I'm going to do that is to make sure I've got a full range of the frequency spectrum covered. I'd then move on to dialing in Oscillator 3. This one I'm going to turn up a little bit louder than Oscillator 1 and 2 to around about 12 dB. For this one, I'm going to stick to a sawtooth waveform. I'm also going to dial it down to the lower octave as well. The reason I'm doing this is because it's going to cover quite a lot of the low frequencies as well as the mid to high frequencies. I'd also usually fine-tune the oscillators just a touch, just to create a bit of detuning within the oscillator layers. Then move on to turning on the unison and add a bit of voice detune. Make sure you turn the polyphony up to around about 5. So now that we've got quite a rich full sounding patch, what we'd want to do is use the filter envelope to shape the stab. So I'm going to lower the cutoff frequency to around about 110 Hertz. And then I'm going to use the contour, which is usually known as the filter envelope in most synths. I'm also going to set the resonance to around about 2.3, which is going to help give a little bit of bite to the sound. We're going to set the decay time to around about 430 milliseconds. And we're going to have the attack all the way up, so the filter is being activated as soon as the sound initiates. We then move on to the amplitude envelope, which is the next quite important one. I'm going to set it somewhere around about there at the moment. I'm then going to work on tweaking the decay time with some drums until I get some groove happening within the pattern. So what I then usually move on to doing is dialing up another Arturia, and I want to get some longer bass notes to help out with the groove. So what I then usually do is move on by bouncing out the MIDI parts into an audio file, and then continue processing them from there. So after a little bit of playing around, I chopped up the audio files, processed them with some various other techniques, and came up with this sound. In regard to the other techniques that we use to process the sounds, don't have enough time to go into them today, but I'm going to look at covering them in future videos. Keep in mind though that all bass and mid sounds that you do hear were derived from the Arturia patch that we created. So after a bit more playing around, I spent a bit of time on a quick arrangement, and this is what I came up with. So don't forget the Mini V is available at pluginboutique.com, along with a lot of other audio bits and pieces, including plugins, virtual instruments, synth presets and more. You were just with Safire. Check it out. See you next time.